Welcome back to my Pokémon Emerald Hardcore Nuzlocke walkthrough. In the last episode, we did a lot of boring but very important stuff. The trek between gyms 5 and 6 is very long, and while the encounters we obtained were less than ideal, picking up the TMs for Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and grinding our team up to the new cap will help us greatly. We are very over-prepared for Winona. Speaking of which, let's jump right into the action. The road from Gen 3 Casual to Emerald Master continues. Let's do this. Starting off this episode right, with a boss fight. Let's quickly go over the team before we get into it. I'm leading this fight off with the newest member of our team, Camerupt. As I went over in the last episode, Camerupt overall does not perform very well in the Generation 3 games, with one major exception, and that's Winona. It's very good against 3 of her 5 team members, especially that Skarmory, which is always an annoying one to deal with. It's also nice having a Pokemon that I know I won't be using for the rest of the playthrough for this fight, because Camerupt can take the risks that my other Pokemon don't have to take. Next up is my Manectric, who will deal with Winona's Pelipper very handily. She'll also be backing up Camerupt against that Skarmory in case something goes wrong. I'm having Manectric hold a Person Berry as well, just in case Pelipper goes for Supersonic when I switch in. Next, Gyarados, who I have enlisted to take out Winona's notorious ace, Altaria. Gyarados is a perfect counter with the 4 times effective Ice Beam at his disposal, and the flying type avoiding all of those nasty earthquakes. Finally, I have Azumarill, who I kept on the team so she could back up Gyarados just in case something goes wrong against Altaria. Both Gyarados and Azumarill are holding citrus berries to give them some extra health on top of their decently defensive bulk already. Breloom and Grovyle are spectators for the most part, but Breloom could theoretically save me if things were to go horribly wrong, as long as he moves first, of course. And that's it. I'm ready. Let's do this. I open up with Camerupt and swiftly take out her weakest Pokemon in Swablu with a Rock Slide. She decides to go with Pelipper next, and so I switch into Manectric to take it out. She goes for a Protect 3 times in a row though, which I found odd, but hey, I'm not complaining. Thunderbolt eventually gets through, and Pelipper goes down. Her ace, Altaria, comes out next, and so Gyarados is up. She goes for a Dragon Dance right away, which I think is pretty much what this Altaria always does on the first turn in my experience. But with the attack drop we get with Intimidate, and Altaria's poor base attacking stats, even after 2 Dragon Dances, Aerial Ace just doesn't do too much to us. And after 2 Ice Beams, the worst part of this fight goes down with ease. Tropius comes out next, and since Tropius is just really bad overall, I just decided to keep Gyarados in to finish him off with several Ice Beams. Winona ends up wasting all of her Hyper Potions here, which is super nice. Skarmory finally comes out, and I don't know what I was really doing here. I thought Camerupt would be fine, but a crit from Aerial Ace puts me too low to do anything. I ended up switching back into Gyarados to get an attack drop in, and Skarmory's Aerial Aces are just tickling Gyarados at this point. I let Gyarados stay in for the fight, knowing that a crit from Aerial Ace wasn't even enough to put me in any real danger. Several surfs later, and Winona finally goes down, earning us the 6th gym badge and the TM for Aerial Ace, which is very nice. And that was clean as hell and went exactly as planned. It's a beautiful thing. Gyarados really carried us hard there. Now that we're done with Winona, we begin an even longer trek towards the 7th gym. Seriously, this section of the game is a serious slog, and the next level cap gets raised all the way up to level 42, which means we've got a lot of grinding to do. There will be plenty of routes and trainers, but it's still not enough to actually push us that high. And so it's at this point in the game that I highly recommend using the daycare grinding methods in order to level your Pokemon up. It'll be much faster than grinding out wild Pokemon, trust me. I'm swapping out Camerupt here for just a flyer for the convenience. I will have to evolve him first, of course. I don't have any plans to level up anybody else at this moment in time, as my current team is already decently equipped to deal with Tate and Liza as is, I think. We'll see as we get closer though. I actually ran down Route 120 and 121 again, so I could take out some of the trainers I had skipped over originally. And then I made my way towards Route 122 and 123 to take out a few more, and pick up some items along the way. Route 123 has some very nice things to collect, including the TM for Giga Drain, some citrus berries, PP-ups, and a rare candy as well. And after all that, my Golbat finally evolves into Crobat, and I can finally teach him Fly now, which will be very helpful. Route 123 is also where I'll get my next encounter, and it's a Shuppet. It's not bad. Banette is okay overall. It's not a Pokemon that you would pick for your A team, but if you've lost some party members along the way, he's not a bad option by any means. Ghost types in general are always useful to some extent in any Nuzlocke due to the immunities to normal and fighting. They make for excellent pivots in quite a few situations. Stats are also decent, and the coverage is very nice. I don't know if we'll use them, but it's a nice tool to have in our tool belt if we need it. On to Mount Pyre to push the story forward. But not before we clear out all of these trainers, pick up the TM for Shadow Ball along with a few other items along the way. Be very careful with these trainers in this place though. There are a few that have Wobbuffets, so be prepared for those. I would highly recommend leading with a party member that can apply Poison, Burn, or Leech Seed or something like that to safely take them down. They come with the Shadow Tag ability, so you can't switch out or escape in any way, which is super scary. We run into our next encounter as well, which will be Duskull, which is guaranteed. A very nice encounter for sure. Dusclops is like Banette, just better. Defensively bulky, a very nice toxic user, gets Confuse Ray, good addition to the team, can be pretty much used anywhere in the game. And after climbing all the way up here, Archie runs away, an old man tries to tell me a story, and I swiftly leave to continue my quest. Off to the Jagged Pass to deal with Maxie and Team Magma. At the Magma hideout, I can actually get another encounter here in Geodude. Unfortunately, it's not a great pickup for this stage of the game. The Geodude line is actually quite nice if you can grab him back in Granite Cave, as he can be great against Watson, Flannery, and Winona. But since we're past Winona at this point, he falls off a cliff basically, as most of the content at this point is just gonna wreck him. After plowing through the red trash that are Magma Grunts and Tabitha, we finally reach Maxie. This is a boss fight you should do a little bit of prep for, but it's not that bad. His Camerupt is powerful if it does get an attack off, but it's super slow, and if you have a decent water type on you, he should go down in one hit. His Mighty Anda's Swagger and his Crobat's Confuse Ray are both very annoying and could potentially get you into some trouble. I had some problems myself, as you can see from the health of some of my Pokemon. But in the end, Maxie finally goes down and just fucks off. And now it's time for us to head over to Slateport to deal with the other morons. After very quickly dealing with Team Aqua, I can finally head over to Lily Cove, where another rival fight awaits us in front of the Lily Cove department store. Much like the previous rival fight, this one isn't all that scary. He's actually got some really good Pokemon, but what in the hell happened to their movesets? It's like Brendan intentionally nerfed his own team by removing Double Kick from his Combustion, having Nature Power on his Ludicolo. Like, I don't understand. It's just a little bizarre to me. Tropius is just not a good Pokemon and goes down to a whole bunch of stuff, and Pelipper may honestly be his best Pokemon and perhaps the only one that will really cause you any potential problems. I'm not saying to go completely blind on this fight, but you'll probably be just fine with minimum strategy. Don't forget to pick up the TM for Rest in this house here. Very useful to have in any Nuzlocke. Self-healing is just great. On to the Team Aqua hideout. There's really nothing to see here or explain, just make sure you don't forget to pick up the Master Ball while you're in here. Otherwise, just clear out the blue trash and mat to get this story moving along. And now we have all the water routes to push through. I'm going to spend some time to run through a bunch of trainers to get as much experience as I can before heading to Moss Deep City. The level cap of 42 is just not going to be obtainable though without doing some grinding at the daycare, which I'll take care of as well. But yeah, Tate and Liza is the next step, and we're a bit far from that. I wasn't kidding when I said this would be the biggest slog in the game by far. Not a whole lot of items to pick up on either of these routes either, but you can pick up the King's Rock, Sunstone, and Super Rod while you're in Moss Deep, which are definitely nice. But for now, I've got my grinding hat on, and I'll see you in a bit. And I'm back with a full team of 6, pretty much ready to go. I decided ultimately not to switch out any of my members and leveled up my Crobat alongside everybody else. While he won't be super helpful in this gym, I think having him around for the future will be a good idea. I'm thinking I'll only really need Sceptile, Gyarados, and Azumarill mostly for this fight, with Manectric being peppered in there to deal with Xatu perhaps. At least the grind is finally done and we can move on to Titanize. And with that, this episode is now over. I hope this episode was a little more action-packed than the last, while still covering a lot of the game. Now, I'm off to do a bunch of damage calculations and preparations for Titanize. I want to be just as prepared for them as I was for Winona, and then I'll be sure to go over the strategy in the next episode before we begin. In the meantime, as usual, please like the video if you liked it and subscribe for more content like this. And let me know what other kinds of content you would like to see me do in the future. That's it from me. I'll see you next time.